So my name is Chase Stewart. I'm here on behalf of the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection, or DEP, as I'll refer to it from here on out. So a little bit of background for the DEP. This department was actually created back in October of 1991. This was the resulting action of Senate Bill 217 in the West Virginia State Legislature. Since the inception of the DEP, there have been evolutions through the addition and specification of different internal offices that also work in coordination with outside organizations. So, for example, the Deputy for External Affairs currently acts as liaison between the DEP and outer groups like the Department of Commerce, the Environmental Council of the States, and the state legislature itself. So currently, the DEP is comprised of 22 divisions, offices, and boards that oversee environmental health of the state through permitting and regulation enforcement. So in regards to this mining operation that's proposed, there are a couple of offices that take a main precedence for this permitting. So the most important one is actually going to be the Office of Explosives and Blasting. This office acts as a regulating body for permitting all surface mine blasting operations in the state. So this office is actually more scientific in nature. That's due to the fact that this actually does technical research as well as technical assessments to any proposals. So for example, this office administers pre-blast surveys. It trains and examines and certifies all surface coal mining blasters and administers any claim/arbitration process regarding to blasting damage. So something goes wrong on site, they're going to be the ones that do the mediary between the aggressor and then the victim of the suit. The most important function of this office is the wealth of information that's available to anyone that is trying to start a mining operation. They have in-house seismic research, they have wildlife impact assessments, they also have raw data when it comes to air blast projections for different types of rock, sedimentary aspects of it, as well as different areas of the state. But more importantly, they have their own techniques and compliance methods that they promote to anyone that is trying to start a project. And then lastly, this office handles the trainings and certifications that are required to become a pre-blast surveyor or a blaster in the state of West Virginia. Next group is going to be the environmental enforcement. This branch promotes compliance with a variety of different acts, so like solid waste management, water pollution control, groundwater protection act, so on and so forth. This department is key in the investigation of citizen complaints, compliance inspections, and they act as the first point of contact for spills and emergency response to incidents. So anything that happens on site, the environmental enforcement group, as well as the Homeland Security and Emergency Response Team, these two groups are going to be the first ones on scene to respond to any sort of spill or explosion. Something happens on site, these are the ones to call. Another aspect about the environmental enforcement is that this department actually has the power to enact administrative, civil, and criminal enforcement procedures to ensure compliance. So they're the ones that start any sort of legal proceedings going forward. The Environmental Quality Board, different from environmental enforcement. This is actually a board that consists of 5 members, all of which are appointed by the governor of West Virginia. So there are requirements to become an appointee of this board, but the main aspect of it is that you have previous training, knowledge, or experience working with the state's water resources. Even more so, there's a requirement of at least 1 member of the board to have experience with industrial pollution control. So this board primarily deals with hearing appeals regarding the issuance or denial of all permits, the conditions of the permits as they're implied, and then the enforcement of decisions rendered by the DEP, specifically the Division of Water and Waste Management in the DEP. So the Environmental Quality Board works with the Division of Water and Waste Management to combat surface and groundwater pollution from either industrial, municipal, or stormwater point sources. Office of Environmental Advocate. This office provides assistance to the public through the processing of Freedom of Information Acts or FOIA requests and complaints. This office is the introductory point for the DEP programs and processes such as regulation and permitting, public hearings, and meetings with agency personnel. So you want to find information, this is the office to go to first off, and they'll be able to pull everything together and distribute it out. So like I said, primary function of this office, act as a line of communication between the general public and the DEP. This office also works in coordination with the Public Information Office. Obviously, public records, environmental impact information, and educational resources for the public all go through this. Division of Mining and Reclamation. This division of the DEP regulates regional mining operations to ensure adherence to not only state but also federal law. Issuing and renewing permits for mineral extraction sites and related water quality, tracking ownership and control of existing mining operations, and issuing and assessing violations all fall under the purview of this division. There are a total of 5 regions that are assigned to offices throughout the state. These regions are just clusters of counties that are geographically situated next to each other. But this division is also very important for the Office of Oil and Gas when it comes to permitting, inspection, and mine safety issues associated with oil and gas wells in the state. Primarily when it comes to capping them, you need to find that there's at least all the safety precautions for, say, an abandoned mine that's near an oil and gas well to be capped. You need to make sure that that all fits. And then finally, Surface Mine Board. This is very similar to the Environmental Quality Board when it comes to like the method of their actions, but this Surface Mine Board specifically hears all appeals that deal with the issuance or denial of permits, permit conditions, and notices of violations, specifically when it comes to surface mining operations. So this board would act as a legal mediary between permit-seeking operators, like the group that we're dealing with now in this surface mining operation, and the DEP. So, thank you.